Good evening, everybody. Welcome to First Church of Religious Science here in New York City. Welcome to our Zoom call. We are also broadcasting to Facebook and YouTube. I want to welcome all of you to the center, all of the people who return every week. We're getting all of your messages. We're doing our best to catch up in our correspondence to everybody. We appreciate all the compliments. If you'd like to receive our e-letter, please send Jimmy your contact information. If you include your phone number, he will send you a gentle reminder by text before our classes. We meet every Wednesday for our Creative Living series, every Thursday night for our Louise Hay self-healing class, and every Sunday morning at 10:45 for our meditation, and then our Sunday morning lesson. So it's an honor to have you all with us. People are signing in as I speak. Again, we meet Wednesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All of our classes are broadcast at no cost to you. Some of you are supporting the center financially, and for those of you who want to, in the chat box, there are options, or you could send a check to the church if you preferred. The main thing for us is to grow our gathering, grow our group, and to extend the teaching far and wide. And to that end, we've been pretty successful. Louise Hay was a student here at First Church. She became a practitioner during the Raymond Charles Barker years, and Stuart Grayson, I believe she was here at that time too. So Louise learned the science of mind, and I thought I'd tell you a little bit about the science of mind tonight before I got into my Hay lesson. Ernest Holmes, in The Science of Mind, wrote a Declaration of Principles, and we oftentimes read it on Sunday, or I should say occasionally read it. And I thought I'd share it with the Louise Hay group because some of you may have never heard it, and it will give you an idea of what Louise Hay herself believed and what she was taught and what we continue to teach. I've altered the gender around a little bit of the original manuscript, but I thought I'd share it with you this evening. It starts out by saying, we believe in a universal spirit, the living force almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. And Louise Hay you'll hear us say, you are cause to your own experience. So we believe in this almighty one, indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This force manifests itself in and through all of creation, but it's not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of this universal spirit. It's the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of spirit. In other words, everything you see and you will ever see is this spiritual activity, this energy. We believe in the individualization of the spirit within each and every one of us, and that all people are individualizations of this one spirit. We believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul, which is forever and ever expanding. We believe that heaven is within us and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. We believe that the ultimate goal of life to be a complete freedom from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by everyone. You'll hear me say week after week that we're all in the perfect place, perfect time, and we're all evolving and moving forward. And this is what it's getting at. We believe in the ultimate goal of life to be a complete freedom. Emerson was saying that also, that we're moving toward it. All the world is moving towards it. We're doing it collectively and we're doing it individually. That everything that happens to us is happening for us. So we're moving forward individually and collectively towards a life of complete freedom from all discord of every nature. and that this goal is sure to be attained by all of us. Next, we believe in the unity of all life. From the furthest galaxy since the beginning of time, we believe in the unity of all life, and that the highest spirit and the innermost spirit is the one and same. We believe that this spirit is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence. So forever we're suggesting for you to inquire within, to go within, because you live in this, you move in it, you have your being in it. And as you meditate, as you learn to go within, you'll be nurturing it. Ralph Waldo Emerson would suggest that the universe is wooing you. It's attempting to get your attention. So again, we believe in the unity of all life. We believe that you're a part of this, and that the highest spirit and the innermost spirit is the one and the same. So you have everything you need within you. Next, we believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives what we call the affirmative life. Or as Holmes says, anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with this indwelling spirit. So as you're learning to practice this teaching, you're practicing the good, the God, the Spirit in everything and everyone. You're learning to be a lifter. As you do this, you're living the affirmative life, and you're learning to take a pause and go within and allow yourself to receive inspiration. And it ties into this point. We believe in the direct revelation of the truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature. And so we all have access to it if we take the time, we take the pause, and we go within. Next, we believe that the universal spirit, which is the life force, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of the spirit, and that we're surrounded by this creative mind, which receives the direct impressions of our thoughts and acts upon it. Well, this would be describing, in different words, the law of attraction. Again, we believe that this universal spirit, which is the life force itself, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of this spirit. And that we live in it, we move in it, we have our being in it. We're surrounded by this creative mind, which is always receiving our thoughts, and it's acting directly upon our thoughts. 9, we believe in the healing of the sick and the control of conditions through the use of this mind. So Dr. Holmes is telling us there's power for good in the universe, and you can use it. Louise Hay would say the same thing. She believed that through our thoughts we can create illness or dis-ease, or we can heal our life, we can heal our bodies. So we believe in the healing of the sick and the control of conditions through the power of this mind. We know that life responds to us. We know that our body responds to us. We know that illness can be healed through our consciousness and working in close proximity to our medical practitioners. 10, we believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. So in this point, Ernest Holmes is saying, we believe in the eternal goodness, we believe in this eternal energy, this energy that's always been here since the beginning of time. We believe that this energy is loving. We believe this energy is giving. We believe in the eternal givingness of this energy to all. It doesn't have a select few. This energy is in all. We believe everything is the Spirit, and the Spirit is indwelling in everything and everyone and all the time. 11, we believe in our own soul, our own spirit, and our own destiny, for we understand that the life of all is this universal spirit. So here he's saying each of us are created as individualizations of life. We have volition. We get to choose. You know, each of us, the universe may be living inside of us and spirit may be wooing us, but ultimately we're always at choice. It's entirely up to us. Whatever we put out comes back to us. So we have our own soul, our own spirit, and yet we're one with this creative force. And we create our own destiny, for we understand that the life of all is this universal spirit. So that's pretty much a summation of Holmes' principles of Declaration of Principles, which I thought I would share with you, because that would be the basis of Louise Hay's work. Louise Hay, in her book, would say, we're each 100% responsible for all of our experiences, and every thought we think is creating our future. The point of power is always in the present moment. So let me give you an example. Imagine there's two gardeners. One plants seeds of flowers while the other plants weeds. The thoughts we nurture are like those seeds. Negative thoughts will grow like weeds, destroying the beauty of the garden. We talk about our life as a garden a lot and planting new seeds. What kinds of thoughts are you planting? We often plant seeds of doubt, fear, and worry, negativity without even realizing it. So these negative seeds and negative thoughts, once again, can self-sabotage and can choke our joy and peace. When we keep practicing and keep planting seeds of positivity, they will outpicture. We don't like to think of ourselves as negative people. It's easy to overlook the subtle shades of negativity that we have in our daily living. You might be frustrated in traffic, or you might be frustrated on the train. The train station you go on might be closed, and you might have to go, a few stations out of your way. Or maybe your internet connection's down, or my printer isn't working properly today, things like that. Or you're experiencing anxiety over an email or some comment someone has made. Or you're irritated scrolling through your media. All of these moments are somewhat insignificant, but cumulative, they can darken your outlook. So reflect on your day. How often do these shades of negativity creep in? Is there any place where you give your power away, where you routinely give your power away? How can we consciously choose to see and foster the light instead? Louise, of course, always said the point of power is in the present moment. And she always suggested that you bring yourself back to the place always where you can know that all is well, constantly releasing the irritations and the negativity. Looking through my notes, I'm remembering Ram Dass, who wrote "Be Here Now." Let's realize the magic in this very moment. Right now, you're not just sitting in a virtual gathering of like-minded people. You're at a crossroads of countless possibilities. Yes, you're in a group of like-minded people, but you're also at a crossroads of countless possibilities. Think about a time in your life where being fully present turned an ordinary moment into something memorable. What can you do, like right now, to embrace and enrich this moment right here on this call? What can you think about? What can you do to make this moment exciting for you? For instance, you could be jotting down some of the things that come to you, or a goal, or a dream that's been on your mind, or it might be a comment that someone makes that you make a mental note of that will turn this moment into something really wonderful for you, for your future. Or take a moment to send a positive thought or word of appreciation to someone in this group chat who's inspired you. You can do so many things in any new moment where you can create a ripple of positivity. Any and all of these small actions have the power to transform an ordinary gathering into a space of inspiration and connection. Every week, I tell you that Louise often stated that she's counseled a lot of people. She spoke in front of loads of groups. And she said, after you distill just about everyone's comments, she'll say there's an underlying belief that I'm not okay, I'm not good enough, because people are comparing themselves to one another, or they're trying to live up to what their parents wanted them to be, or maybe they're trying to live up what they wanted to be themselves. But there's this underlying idea that who I am is not okay, or what I've done is not okay, and there's remorse, there's just people are sometimes feel sad, and they've been carrying a lot of this stuff with them for a long, long time. So people tend to be very critical of themselves. So she said this belief, I'm not good enough, is a silent epidemic. So you can notice it in the mirror when you're judging your appearance. You don't like your weight, you don't like what you look like, or you can notice it in the office when you think you ought to speak up but you don't, or in your relationships where you think you wish you'd speak up but you don't, or in social gatherings where you might feel out of place. So this myth that I'm not good enough thrives in the shadows of our insecurities. Louise Hay taught us that this is a common thread in most everyone's life. The question is, how can we shine a light on all these shadows and start seeing ourselves as enough, just as we are? You'll remember in all of the material, the Louise Hay material, there's endless affirmations. I love myself the way I am. And then she went on to say, there's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. The thing is, that isn't how most people think of themselves. So when we come into these classes, we're challenging ourselves to know that we're enough, to begin the process of developing a healthy dialogue, to say, I love, accept, and approve of myself exactly as I am. Everybody on this call can change. Many of you have already done a lot of work on yourselves, and you can change your thinking. It's not too late. It doesn't matter, again, if you're 28 or 88, you can start here, start now. It's never too late to turn your day around. And so starting here, starting now, life responds to what you say and what you think. So some of our thought patterns are rigid, as many of you know. Some of you use the word should often, or you're very directive. You're telling everybody what they ought to do. And Louise Hay would say with the word should, she says it just indicates a pattern of rigidity within you that most likely has been passed on to you from parents, grandparents, people who have raised you. It's not attractive. It won't attract the things you want. It's and the thing is, and if you're extending it from yourself to others, you're really saying to other people, not good enough, not wrong, not good enough. And really, that's not what any of us want. So we want to find a way to release the need in us to do that. And I believe in doing it in a way that's fun. I believe in using affirmations and catching myself whenever I do any of that stuff. Because Louise said, don't use this as another methodology for beating yourself up. What you're wanting to try to do is to lighten the load, to change that internal dialogue around, to change that conversation around. Some of these thought patterns are in there, they're ingrained, but in the end, they're just thoughts. And you remember the saying, it's only a thought, and a thought can be changed, but you got to really want to change it. Every time we have a failure, every time there's a rejection, there's a disappointment. It carries a lesson. You've all heard, Thomas Edison, Babe Ruth, right? They all had more setbacks than they had successes. But they turned out to be tremendous successes. So think about a time when you had a particular shift in your perspective and you turned a tough situation or a challenge into an opportunity. Can you remember a time where maybe you lost a job, or a relationship didn't work out, or you went through something that was particularly tough, and when you had a shift in your perspective and it all turned into be a greater opportunity? Maybe a relationship didn't work, only to provide you with an opportunity to meet somebody who was much better for you. Or one door closed, only to have another one open that was far superior for you. This is the way it works in life, by the way. So we keep a positive mentality. We keep stepping forward. We trust in the process of life. Louise would say this isn't a theory, it's a practice. What we do in religious science, many of us become practitioners. Jimmy recently became a practitioner. He's in the ministry school. A practitioner practices. He keeps practicing seeing the good, seeing the cup as being full. We're attempting in this teaching to learn to live the affirmative life. Anybody can complain, and everybody does complain. If you get involved in this teaching, you come to realize that you're one with the one, that there is one spirit, one power, and that power is in you, operating through you. And you lift your sights. You hitch your wagon to the stars. You don't stay stuck in the muck. You're here to see the good. And so that is what it is. It's a practice. In religious science, we emphasize practice, 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 knowing that affirmations build up consciousness. I'm going to ask a question. Is there any negative belief you're holding on to yourself? Just think about it for a moment. Any negative you have about yourself or about anybody or some organization or in your family member. Any negative belief you're holding on about a situation. And here's that question that I don't like it when they ask it to me. How's that working out for you? Having that negative belief. And then the next question is, how can you transform that negative belief into a stepping stone for growth? How can you get past it? How can you look upon that situation differently? Or that person, or that whole situation through Spirit's eyes? How can you look at it differently? Remember that line that I use often from the Course, which is, I could see peace instead of this. I have the ability to look on this and know that this is God in action. I have the ability to look at this and know this is God unfolding. Or we can language it differently. I can know that this is a situation where this person is doing the best that they can with the information that they have. And I could see this just knowing that this is the process of life that Louise Hay was talking about when she said, I trust in the process of life. If you really trusted in the process of life, you wouldn't be very upset about very much, because you would know you're in the perfect place at the perfect time, all the time, and you would know all is well. So there's nothing much to get upset about. You would learn to be more loving and kind to yourself. You would never criticize yourself, and you would naturally extend that love and kindness to other people. That's the way of the mystics. That's the way of the exalted ones. They would say, those of you who have not sinned, cast the first stone. We realize that everybody is here and everybody's evolving and they're doing the best they can. And we're not here to be fault finders. We're here to be lifters. We're not here to be the ones that are dragging people down. But charity begins at home, and it really all does begin with us. Recently, Seth was talking about that old song that we used to sing here, and it used to be sung at Unity everywhere, which is, let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. And that's really the thing. We do our work with ourselves and on ourselves. Imagine a world where every grudge melts away, leaving behind a clear, serene sky of understanding. Can you envision a world where every grudge, every bit of anger melts away, where you're left with a clear, serene sky of understanding? Can you envision it? Well, that's the world that forgiveness offers us. Forgiving ourselves, forgiving others, letting go of anger, resentments. So let's go a little bit deeper into this world. The Course in Miracles used to ask a question: what could you want that forgiveness does not offer you? In other words, when you let it all go, all your strong opinions, all your criticisms, all your forgiveness of your failings and the people who you think have failed you, and if you could just let it all go, what could you want that forgiveness does not offer you? Let's consider a thought from Louise Hay. Louise says we create everything in our life: the joy, the happiness, the misery. We even create the so-called illnesses in our body. This idea might sound surprising, but it's about how our mind and our body are closely linked. Think about it. When we're constantly stressed or worried, doesn't our body respond to the stress? Our blood pressure goes up. You might have a headache. You might feel tired, or it could be over time something more serious. You could be creating disease. But here's the empowering part. Just as our negative thoughts can affect our body, our positive thoughts can heal our body. Again, just as our negativity can ruin our relationships, be ruinous to our bodies, our critical, analytical self, can run us amok. But our positive thoughts can heal us, can heal relationships, can mend fences. In religious science, we explore this incredible connection that we have. Our thoughts aren't just passing clouds. Our thoughts are powerful forces that shape our health and shape our reality and shape our life. We want to learn to become the guardian at the gate. So when we're talking about changing our story, when we're talking about our health, talk about the health that we have. Please don't talk about what's missing and what's wrong, because your thoughts have power. Your thoughts can either drag you down or lift you up. So we want to begin to choose thoughts of health and peace, affirmative thoughts, thoughts of positivity, and not just because we're optimistic. It's because we know we're actively influencing our physical well-being. There's a direct correlation between what's in our life and what's in our thoughts. So it's like having a conversation with your own body when you're going to say to yourself, hey, we're okay. I celebrate the health in you, the wholeness. I love and accept and approve of you. Look at yourself in the mirror and start to have those conversations. Stop talking about your disease and what's ailing you. Look into yourself and say, you're whole and complete. I love, accept, and approve of you. Again. Or say that there's a perfect pattern of health in operating through you right now. Say that to yourself. Say that to the most important person in the world. We want to begin replacing our worry thoughts with well-being. We want to start replacing our stress with serenity. I remember, earlier teaching this class probably 20 years ago, we're talking about Chicken Little. The character that's always going around, the sky is falling. I mean, he or she couldn't be any more negative. And, and there's people like that. And, what they don't realize is that state of consciousness brings forth havoc in your body, in your world. So we come into this teaching, we understand that thoughts are things. We never want to be criticizing ourselves. And then when we find ourselves doing it, we simply want to stop. Stop in the name of love, but stop. When you're being overly critical of other people, which people have a tendency to do, They're other referred, and they're pointing a lot of fingers, right? And generally, most of those folks don't realize that the very same things they're being analytical and critical about exist first in themselves. So once again, we come back, we bring it back to ourselves, and we want to get connected. We want to remember that we're one with the one, that we're one with Source, and the bigger the thought we can think, the more connected and expansive the thought we can think about ourselves, the better. That's hitching our wagon to the stars. Then that will start to outpicture in our life. We want to replace worry thoughts with well-being. We want to replace anything that's worrisome or stressful with an idea of perfect peace and serenity. So truly, you've probably heard me say it before, but your word is your wand. You know, your life is a reflection of what your consciousness is, which is the sum total of your knowing. So pay attention to what you're saying. Pay attention to how you're judging yourself. Pay attention to how you're judging anyone else, because your conversation about anyone else is really a conversation about yourself anyway. So we want to really start to pay attention to that. I want to speak for a moment about resentment. Louise said resentment, criticism, and guilt are the most damaging patterns that we can have. I think you all know that. If I'm resentful towards anybody, promise, they don't know, they don't care. The only person that gets hurt with anger and resentment is going to be you. You're going to be hurting your body. What we want to do in religious science is we want to create avenues in mind, because we understand the kingdom of good or the kingdom of God is at hand, meaning all the things you're looking for, peace, power, love, joy, beauty, and wisdom, are here. There's no place like home. They're here. They're in you, operating through you. But if you have a lot of anger, resentment, and remorse going on, you're going to be a miserable person. Or if you have a lot of worrying going on, you can't experience the good, the God, the glory, the prosperity that's you were born to have. So it's called the poison of resentment. Resentment, criticism, and guilt are the most damaging patterns you can have. If you have them, just whenever you see them, just acknowledge them. Learn what you need to learn. I think of like Simon and Garfunkel. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Okay, whenever it comes in, just, acknowledge it, release it, neutralize it if you can in that moment. Let it go and replace it. Start to do affirmative prayer. Start working on your affirmations. A spiritual mind treatment, by the way, is a little bit different than an affirmation. The definition would be, from the textbook, would be the time, the art, the method of ridding this negativity. So an affirmation may not do that. If you keep on working your affirmations until you feel a shift in consciousness, it's possible that you will eliminate a negative. But as you get more involved in the teaching and you learn how to do affirmative prayer, that's the goal to neutralize and to eliminate this negative idea, the poison, if you will. So in the glossary, there's two definitions. The one I like is the short one. The time, the art, the method. It's, there's no one way. You don't have to do it our way with 5 steps. It's just for you to get to the place where you can totally neutralize that negative idea. The negation, as Dr. Holmes would say, so you can perceive the ever-presence of good or God in your life. So resentment, criticism, all the anger, the grudges, please, for your own sake, let it go. Be the first to forgive if you can be. It's like clutching a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You're always going to be the one who gets burnt with any of those states of consciousness. So I learned that one long ago, and I pass it on to you. Be the first to forgive. It doesn't matter who's right or wrong. It just what matters is you free yourself of it, so you can experience the bliss, the glory, the good which is here. Imagine the liberation and releasing the resentments. Recall a moment in your life where you let go of a grudge. Can you? Where you freely forgave somebody, or at last you forgave somebody, or you forgave yourself. How freeing that was. People go through 12-step programs and they work the steps and they get to a point of freedom. The soul longs to be free. One of the sayings from the programs was, the universe's will for us is to be happy, joyous, and free. And I believe that's true. Emerson would say the same thing. We're here to evolve towards freedom. So we're all at choice. So let's pay attention to what we're thinking, and let's cancel the negatives and replace the negatives with the positives. So if you can recall a moment where you held a grudge or you're angry at someone, imagine yourself just letting it go. If you can recall a time where you let it go, didn't it feel like a heavy burden that was lifted from you? Louise emphasized, I'm sure you've heard me say many times before, we've got to find a way to release the past and forgive everyone. She didn't say some people, she said everybody. We must release the past and forgive everyone. This isn't about others, as I've said about 5 times already. This is about setting you free. Forgiveness lets you live in the now, so you don't have to carry in all that stuff. Ernest Holmes says we're carrying a lot of corpses or dead wood around with us, which is our resentments, our anger. It's very tough to be in a new moment in a relationship when you're carrying around a lot of baggage, heavy stuff. So forgiveness will allow you to live in the now, which is a state of bliss, joy, and wonder. I remembered Nelson Mandela when I was putting my notes together for this presentation. He was in jail for 27 years. I knew he was in jail for a long time, 27 years. And he was able to forgive his jailers, and he knew the importance of forgiveness. He knew it was important for him personally, and he knew it was important if his country was ever to be reconciled. So if there's ever to be a reconciliation or ever to be improvement, we have to acknowledge the importance of forgiveness. Mandela knew it would be the only way for him to go forward for himself and with his country. He chose love over grievances. I remember another book I read long ago, which was entitled "Love Holds No Grievances." So it was a pretty clear message that, whoever can forgive ought to be the first person to forgive. And usually that's people who are in this teaching, because my experience is people who are not in this teaching will want to hold grudges forever. In my family system, they always say, well, Greg's going to forgive everybody. And I will. Because what's the good in holding on to the grudge? Forgiveness is the gift we give ourselves, and it's a step towards a life of joy and fulfillment. So maybe it's time for us to consider just letting it all go. If we do, we'll witness the transformation all around us, and I'm sure you'll be happy for it. Through forgiveness, we find a quiet mind, a heart that's unburdened by resentment. It's not just an act of kindness towards others. It's really a great gift, as I said, to ourselves, a doorway to serenity and a life, having a liberated heart. So with Louise Hay, we're always embarking on a journey of loving ourselves. This is what we do. We'll turn the other cheek. We'll forgive. We're committed to seeing the God, the good in ourselves and others. That's what we do. For too long, many of us have been our own worst enemies, harshest critics. Reflect for a moment. What has this self-criticism yielded? What has it given you? How has it shaped anything that's been positive in your life? Louise Hay often said we were all victims of victims. She said those who raised us did their best with the information, knowledge that they had, awareness that they had. And recognizing this, we understand that life is in forward motion. Life is evolving. We understand that, like Khalil Gibran said poetically, that life is longing for itself. So we're destined to surpass our predecessors, and this necessitates releasing old patterns and embracing life with openness to change. Remember, as Emerson said, the dice of God are always loaded. The universe is conspiring always for our greater good. Therefore, we must arrive at a place of acceptance, trusting the process of life, knowing that it's inherently good and that we are integral to this unfolding process of love and light. If you've spent a lifetime being critical, self-critical, patience is key in this transformative journey. Many of us are unaware of how deeply ingrained our critical nature is. Our goal here every week is to shift this dialogue from wherever there's judgment or any of that negativity, to shift it, the cynicism, to a place of affirmation, where we move towards loving, accepting, and approving of ourselves. Each week as we come together, we remind ourselves of our unity. We're all together, we're all one, and we're one with this singular powerful force. We acknowledge that we're all evolving, every one of us, perfectly. We're all in the perfect place, perfect time. We're not here to judge a single person, but to recognize that we're all spiritual beings unfolding perfectly. It's both wondrous and it's exhilarating to realize that we're points of awareness in the mind of this consciousness. To know that by changing our thinking, we change our lives is a complete marvel. So let's embrace the excitement that life responds to us. That's pretty exciting. This is a beautiful journey to learn to love ourselves, to grow, and to witness how life mirrors our inner evolution. So I think I've said enough. There's lots of tools we can use, but the only thing I can say is just pay attention to your conversation. Tune in often, because we're going to keep reminding you that you are the whole bit. You have everything you need. And all I want everyone to consider doing is just pay attention to what you're saying to yourself, and cancel when a negative crops up, and keep having the willingness to turn it around. Most everybody on this call is wanting to express themselves in a more dynamic way, wanting to be whole and have to be well and to live in connection with Source. We want to learn. So if that's so, just stay tuned, take a pause, do some regular meditation, have a healthy conversation with yourself, do your daily affirmations, repeat things like, I am worthy, I'm loving and lovable, I am enough. Take a few minutes again to meditate, become aware of your inner self, your dialogue, find some way to bring a little bit of humor into your life. I think at this point, I've given you enough information. I want to turn the call over to you. I want to ask the question I always ask. What has it been like being you this week? What has that dialogue been? Has it been life-giving for the most part? Please just share with us. I'd like to hear how it is. Always look forward to hearing what you have to say, what your demonstrations have been like. So we'll see you at the other side of the break. Thank you.